3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the current review, sometimes known as TT, sometimes known as the chairman, but you are free to call me whatever you want, man. And today we have, an engagement with an organization which, quite frankly, I think should be seen everywhere in our country because they're dealing with issues that are beginning to be a problem for our country. The pressing issue, which is the gender-based violence. Despite national efforts, the numbers remain alarmingly high. Just last year, from about April 2022 to March 2023, more than 53,000 cases of sexual offenses were reported, with nearly 43,000 of those being rape cases. This stark reality reminds us that more needs to be done to address this crisis. And today we're going to be joined by Craig Wilkinson, the co-founder and director of Father in Nation, a foundation that has made it its mission to empower men to take a stand against gender-based violence, promote healthy masculinity, and help build a society where everybody feels safe and valued. Craig will share insights from his work, discuss ongoing challenges, and explore potential solutions to build a society free from gender-based violence. We'll also touch on the role of the foundation's programs, the importance of activism, and the upcoming 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Craig, thank you very much for joining us. Would you please, start by sharing with us, what is Father in Nation and what is its mission?
Thanks, Tommy. Great to be with you talking about this very, very important topic. The Father in Nation was founded in 2010. We've been going for almost 14 years. As you mentioned earlier, the mission is around three things: positive, healthy masculinity, restoring fathers and equipping them to be great fathers, and also standing against gender-based violence. So we have a team of people around the country, and we run programs we're fortunate enough to run in all 9 provinces. Schools, colleges, universities, corporates, government departments, taverns, squatter, you name it. Where there are men and where there are men and women, we are there having an impact.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of programs are you running? Like you go to taverns, and what do you do?
So we run a variety of programs. One of the most successful ones is what we call champion conversations, where we engage smaller groups of men in conversations around the issues and challenges that they face as men. I've written some material called the 6-pack of masculine virtues. I say the most important 6-pack you have is not the one on your stomach. It's not the one you drink. It's the one inside, the character. So we talk to men about what it means to be a good man and a positive man. And we found amazing results when we have these dialogues, because as you and I know as men, we don't talk, man. I mean, I'll meet you and, 3 hours later, the only thing I'll know is whether you're a Chiefs or Pirates supporter or neither. I won't know anything about you as a man. And so This dialogue creates an environment where men are able to share, talk, cry, be comforted, but also have lessons about what it means to be a good man. So we run dialogues, we run camps where we take men away for a weekend. We run workshops, mentoring programs, so a variety of programs around these issues of masculinity.
What I've seen with many of programs similar to this and other things is that people normally talk to the already converted. Do you not have the same similar problem where you are talking to people who are actually in your line of work, who are actually doing the same work? What I'm trying to get to is what impact have you made as a foundation in the kind of work that you do?
It's a great question, because absolutely you end up speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir. But that's why we go to places like taverns. We go into communities. We go to schools where there's a captive audience. The entire male student body is there, and amongst them will be those who don't want to be there. We go to universities, TVET colleges. So I call our team often the sharp end of the spear. We go to places where others fear to tread. We have a base. Our only brick and mortar center is in Alexandra, called the No Excuse for Abuse Center. It's in the Numbutle Hostel. So in a notoriously, dangerous part of Alex, where lots of GBV happens, we are there, and so we definitely go to where the problem is and don't, just gather with people who already agree with us. The results, we judge our results by the testimonies and stories. So we have countless stories, and as you and I know, when you change a man, the family gets affected. So we have stories from the partners of men who've been through our programs and transferred, and women saying, my husband, my boyfriend used to beat me, abuse me. He no longer does, and this is for us is the greatest achievement. When we hear women who were not safe but now are safe as a result of our intervention. So that's the kind of thing we do.
And why do you think your approach is important? As opposed to the end part of the program where of the many interventions where it either results in arrest or a funeral of somebody. Why do you think your approach is important?
Well, Tommy, for me, the most important thing is to focus on prevention. How do we stop this from happening? And a lot of programs that deal with gender-based violence, for me, don't address the real issue. They create awareness, and that's important. Awareness is very important. And then down the line, they support victims, but we don't want victims. And so we need to, and that's why I wrote another piece called No Excuse for Abuse, because no boy is born an abuser. Tommy, in our DNA as men is not, we're not designed to abuse. We're designed to protect. So you've got to look at what goes wrong on the journey from boy to manhood that creates a man who's an abuser, because that's not positive, healthy, normal masculinity. That's abnormal, distorted, wounded masculinity. So we focus very much on prevention. And we also focus on affirming and validating men and boys, because positive masculinity is a beautiful gift. You and I as men are gifts to society, unless something goes wrong and we become a curse. So I'm of the firm belief that if we focus on healing and restoring and equipping and inspiring and networking men to be good men, we'll abolish this problem.
It's almost 15 years, 14 years, you say, since you've been running, this foundation. The men that you've spoken to who have been abusers, who have converted, who are on their journey of, healing and so on, what do they say is the fundamental cause, or is there even something fundamental about why men become abusers?
It really is. It's not rocket science. Tommy, for me, we've come across four major reasons. One is that, and remember, a reason is not an excuse. We're not excusing it. We're not saying it's okay. The number one reason is wounded masculinity. Men who are growing up unfathered, unmentored, undisciplined, unschooled in what it means to be a man. And these men are often growing up wounded. South Africa is one of the most, because of our tragic history, it's one of the most unfathered nations in the world. So there are so many boys growing up without the validation and the care and the nurture of a father. And the big question on a boy's heart growing up, and on every man's heart is I need to know that I've got what it takes to be the man, to be the man that the world needs me to be. My wife needs to be, my children, etc. And that question needs to be answered by older men, either a biological father, a stepfather, an uncle, older men imparting to younger men, you're the man, you've got what it takes, you're adequate. But when a boy grows up without that, he feels inadequate. He feels as though he's not enough. And this can become a gaping wound that causes men to be very destructive. They try and prove their manhood. They try and dominate. Or else they become very passive. They run away. They fear stepping up for responsibility. So wounded masculinity is huge. And that wound comes from fathers, mothers, society, and peers. The second big cause is false concepts and understanding of what it means to be a man. And some of these, these are, many of these are common around the world. We grow up in a society that says, to be a man, you've got to have multiple sexual partners. You've got to be the man. You've got to be powerful. You've got to be rich. You've got to have money. You've got to have power. You've got to have status. And by the way, big boys don't cry. So these false notions about masculinity, when a man internalizes them, often leads to him becoming abusive, because he just has a wrong idea of masculinity. True masculinity never dominates. It always serves, it loves, it protects. That's what it is. The third reason is a false notion of the value of woman. We grow up in a world where often the message is women are less than, women can't lead, women are inferior, women have this place and you must have that place. I can never be led by a woman. These are false notions about the value of women as equal partners in the world. Equal but different. I mean, let's celebrate the difference between men and women, but let's not say one is superior to another. And finally, Tommy, I mean, in South Africa, unemployment is a huge issue. So men who are unable to provide for their families, unable to make a living, they feel totally emasculated and useless. And that often leads to despair, drinking, drug abuse, which can go down the road of, so those four things are primary reasons why we're in the state we're in.
And what do you say to those men who are suffering, especially on the last point you made about unemployment? What do you say to them, that makes them feel better about themselves?
What we say to them is money doesn't make a man. That a poor man can leave behind a rich inheritance because it's not about the car you drive or the clothes you wear. It's about you stepping up and standing up and being a responsible, proud citizen, father, husband, and doing the very best you can be. And if you've done that, you've done the best you can be, you've knocked on doors, you've applied, and there's no work forthcoming, that doesn't make you less of a man. You're still equally a man to anybody else. Your circumstances are different and difficult, but that doesn't take away from your value as a man.
And Craig, why do you think the rates of this GBV in our country remain so high? Like almost like we are unable to reduce it. What is the problem?
Well, I don't think we're addressing the real issue. The fathers are absent. We need to promote and encourage and honor and support fatherhood and the importance of fatherhood. And we're not doing that. We're putting money into creating awareness, but we're not putting money into raising boys to be good men. We're not focusing on the boy child. The boy child every boy child wants to be a good man. They do, but they're growing up in a society which is not helping them to become a good man. Without a father, and just not enough work being done to nurture, help, groom, equip boys to become good men and inspire them to do that. With hashtags like #MenAreTrash, with concepts like toxic masculinity. I mean, what does that do to a boy growing up? He grows up thinking that, man, I'm trash, and he's going to behave in a trashy way if he's telling that. But if he grows up and you say, young man, you are destined to be a gift to the world. You are excellent. In your DNA is a rich heritage of heroism. Man, that boy's going to be inspired to be a good man. And then we teach him and nurture him. So I just don't think we're focusing on the right things.
And, with now the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence approaching, how will Father Nation be involved? Do you have any specific initiatives or events planned for that period?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of work over that period. We run tavern events where we go into taverns and we just talk to the tavern patrons, about GBV, about positive masculinity, engage them in dialogues. We do a lot of work in corporations. Corporates are wanting to educate their staff and do things. We have a lot of material also that we distribute around positive masculinity and gender-based violence. So we'll be very active in this period.
Taverns and tavern owners are some of the partners that you work with. Who are the other people that either organizations or government departments that you work with? Are there any?
There are many, and I think this is a very important point. We need to collaborate. We need to. No one organization can fix this. It's a society-wide issue. So we have many corporate sponsors. Strangely enough, SA Breweries is one of the bigger ones. They help with the No Excuse campaign. Standard Bank gets involved. Hitachi Energy, a wide variety. Sun International assist with the programs. And then we've also got support from the GBVF Fund, which is a government initiative. And they're a very strong ally and partner in what we do.
Okay. And the SAPS has also established a GBV desk. From
Yes.
your experience, are these desks making any difference in assisting with the cases of GBV? Or what could be improved really to help the police handle these cases?
I mean, I can't speak with any real knowledge about the impact of the desks. I think it's a good initiative. I think one of the key things we need to do is we need to work with policemen in specific, but also policewomen, because oftentimes victims of GBV are not treated with respect and care. And often, men who are victims of GBV come in and they're mocked. They're mocked. Hey, how can you let your wife beat you? So I think we need training for law enforcement officers on how to handle these cases. And oftentimes, I mean, unfortunately, because this is a society-wide issue, you often have police who themselves are perpetrators of GBV. And so we need to do a lot of screening, a lot of training, a lot of equipping, a lot of healing of these individuals that handle these cases, so that a woman going into a police station feels completely safe. And free to share her story and be handled in a respectful way.
And often when we talk about GBV, we many times refer to heterosexual relations.
Yes.
Do you find that there is a problem also in the queer community around I don't know, can you call it GBV?
You can. I mean, look, you can. I mean, certainly there's intimate partner violence in gay relationships. There's also, there's targeting of people from that community by very distorted masculinity that wants to fix it, or So yes, it is an issue. It's a relationship issue. The intimate partner violence, and it happens in queer couples, gay men, gay woman couples. It definitely does happen.
And have you ever had to like as a foundation? Do you find that there are people who walk into your offices or they call you and they say, "Hey, please help me. I'm dealing with a situation of gender-based violence in my home. I don't know how to deal with it. Can you please speak to my man, to speak to my wife?" Do you experience any of those things?
We do a lot. Yeah. I mean, in Alex, we have the walk-in center. A lot of people walk in with this kind of thing. We have Lifeline in the office with us, helping with specific counseling. We also have a helpline which people can phone, and they get referred to one of our men and our mentors. So yes, there's a lot of reaching out to us. We often have mothers, reaching out, very sad about their sons going the wrong way. So we do have people reaching out.
And maybe this is an opportunity now to tell us what this helpline is, so that maybe we don't forget it down the line.
Sure, it's 0800 150 150.
0800 150 150.
Yeah.
People who have either cases to report or who need help, they can call.
Yeah. So people who phone the line are directed. Women who phone it are directed to Lifeline. The men who phone it are directed to one of our mentors, and they get a call from them.
All right. And in 2020, there was a launch of the National Strategic Plan to combat GBV.
Yes.
What are some of the obstacles you see in terms of implementing this plan effectively?
Again, I think the main issue is not focusing on the right things. The main issue is we need to be focusing on prevention, and we need to be focusing on our fatherless crisis. Men are really struggling at the moment. They're struggling with a sense of being labeled toxic, a sense, struggling with employment and unemployment, struggling with just many, many issues. And I think we need to really focus on that, because unless we heal men and restore men and validate men and equip men, this problem is not going to go away.
So you think this isn't adequate as it is at the moment?
I think it's a great initiative, and I think the pillars are great, but I do think we need to put more of an emphasis on prevention and looking at the real root causes of it. You can never fix a medical issue just by putting a Band-Aid. You need to really discover what is the cause of this and treat that. And I think we spend a lot more time, money, effort, resource focus on those issues that are the cause.
So you really do emphasize the importance of education at a very grassroots level around dealing with issues of gender-based violence.
Very
Educating
much so.
the kids while they are young.
Very much so. And it goes beyond just educating. It's educating and healing and nurturing and raising healthy individuals. You can give someone academic education about things that are wrong, but if their heart is wounded, and it's still going to be a problem. So both of those are absolutely crucial. But yes, the earlier you teach young boys and inspire them to be good men, the better, because that's when they're most malleable. That's when they're most teachable.
And so it sounds like from what we're talking about, me and you now, that fatherlessness is a serious problem.
Yes.
But given the fact that so many of our households are women-led, how are we going to get over that problem?
It's a major challenge. And I mean, that's a big question. Look, we have to shout out to single mothers. I mean, they are doing a phenomenal job, I mean, incredible job. So it's no fault of a single mother at all. I think what we need to do is, as a society, go back to the village. It takes a village to raise a child. We need men, uncles, brothers, grandfathers, institutions like Cub Scouts and others that provide male mentoring. We need to really focus on growing those, and really, just as a society, start to truly value and nurture fatherhood, and restore men to that. I always encourage single moms. I was a single father. I always encourage single moms to recruit good men into the lives of their children. Whether it's a relative, an uncle, a grandfather, a friend, a colleague, and then also provide opportunities for their young boys to get involved in male activities such as soccer, sports, chess, anything where there's male mentors and there's an environment where they can receive male modeling, positive role modeling. So it's not impossible.
Now tell me, Craig, if there are people who would like to work with Father A Nation, in order to help reduce the scourge of this GBV and also raise better men for the future, what should they do? Like, what do we do?
As individuals?
Either individuals or organizations.
Right. Look, I mean, we as a nonprofit, we rely completely on funding. We rely on partners. So, we're a nonprofit organization, registered public benefit organization. So we're always out there looking for organizations who want to help with funding. As individuals, we have some free courses that are available on our website. A course on gender-based violence, a course on positive masculinity. These are available online, no charge whatsoever. If they go to our website, fatheranation.co.za. If you want the No Excuse course, it's just /no excuse. The 6-pack course is just /6 virtues. So www.fatheranation.co.za / and then the name of the course. And much information is available there in terms of personal training and development, and also how to donate to the cause.
Cool. And are there initiatives that are upcoming anytime soon that you would like for us to know about?
We're always running initiatives. So as we speak, we've got 10 men in the fields running all these different events, taverns and camps and walk-ins. We set up events as funding comes in, and as an organization would want. They might say, look, we operate in the in a particular region, and there's a community around us that we want to impact. So we respond to those needs and requirements. But there'll be a lot of 16 days stuff coming up, and as I said, on our website are those free courses.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you, Craig. And if perhaps maybe there's something that I'm missing that you would like to emphasize for our viewers.
Tony, I think you've covered it beautifully. I mean, I would just encourage viewers to, anything starts with ourselves. Starts with ourselves. And for men, we need to look in the mirror, examine our beliefs about women, examine our own journey as men. Are there triggers in us? Are there wounds? Is there a temper? Is there, something that's not right within us? And we need to work on becoming whole men. For fathers, I encourage be present, man. Just be present. Being there, being present emotionally and physically and spiritually. That is 90% of being a father. And then work on yourself as a man to become a better man, a man who views each and every human being with equal respect and honor, whether they're woman or a different religion, different race, whatever the case may be. So work on ourselves, just become excellent men. For women, don't accept abuse. Don't remain in a relationship where you're feeling abused or feeling less than or feeling brought down. Find allies. Reach out and find people who can stand with you, and just don't accept that kind of behavior. And for women too, the thing that we as men desire most from women is not what you think it is. It's respect. Men desire respect. So obviously don't give respect when it's not due, but men crave respect. And you can bring out the best in a man by showing him affirmation and respect. So I think it's a personal journey. We all got to work on our personal journey, become the best man, the best woman we can, and just see how we can impact the community.
And I think maybe just like an emphasis on the boys who don't have fathers present in their lives right now.
Yes.
I think they also need some affirmations. What do you think?
Very much so, yeah. So to the boys who don't have fathers, I would say this, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that your father's not present in your life. And you, as a young man, are a gift to the world. Embrace that, know that. Seek out good mentors, find men, even if you never meet them, on YouTube clips, good men. Not gangsters, not necessarily rappers that are messing around with multiple women. Find good men. And model your life on them, and reach out to good men. Here's Tommy, on this, a good man. There are many good men in our world, and reach out and just spend time and hang out with good men and let that rub off on you, because you're designed to be a gift to the world.
Craig Wilkinson, director and founder of Father a Nation, thank you very much for your time. We do hope that these initiatives and your program will help really deal away with this gender-based violence scourge that we experience in our country. It's a very terrible time to be a man in our country, just because of this misrepresentation of what a man should be. Thank you very much for your time, man, and all the best.
Thanks, Tommy. Great pleasure. All the best to you.
Thank you. That was Craig Wilkinson of Father a Nation. And yeah, we'll be back with another one in